for something completely different.
Okay, Monty.
You'll recall our pal Tom Cullen is a listener. I know the fellow. Everything he writes is trustworthy. He was the fellow who took umbrage with his representative, Bianca Vernig, when she and many other, all DFLers, refused to go to work last January, but were still getting paid.
Yes.
And he wanted some recompense for that. He was thinking that's not fair game. And you'll recall, I meant to look up his previous
Heather Mueller.
emails.
Chantil Ellen.
Jody.
Oh, Bianca
Who's
Vernig.
in truth?
Bianca Vernig. Didn't I keep his other stuff?
Tell me what you need to know.
Well, I just was going to fill you in case there's listeners that don't remember his initial emails.
Oh.
And I would have,
I
here
can't
they
help
are,
you with
here
that.
they are.
Got him.
Well, here's one, for example, from January 27th of this year. Joe, I'm beside myself as I look at the lack of care the Minnesota Democratic House representative has for the constituents of their districts. I am in Minnesota House District 52B, and Rebecca Vernig is my absent rep. I have been watching Trump be presidential by doing something about the problems our country is facing. He is tireless and decisive as well as effective. He isn't talking, he is acting. I cannot compel Vernig to do the job she was elected to do. I have called her office with no response and sent emails to the same end. I am inspired, so instead of just talking, I have decided to act. I have filed against Representative Vernig in Dakota County Conciliation Court. I am asking for a return of my tax dollars I paid to the state of Minnesota in 2024. Clearly, my tax dollars are at risk as the state is infected by waste, fraud, and abuse at every level. Bianca Vernig, my basement-dwelling rep, is violating and neglecting her duties to me as my elected state rep by failing to appear on my behalf to represent my interests in ongoing meetings and sessions of the Minnesota legislature. I'm being taxed without representation, and I want my dollars off the table and returned to me before they buy a hotel in Somalia. I will have my day in court, and I will be doing something. I am risking $80 to file and my time. I am not an attorney or anything of the sort. I sell electric wheelbarrows. I must work every day, and I am grateful for that. These people have forgotten who they work for, and even though I can't go to her office to make my point, she will have to face me in court, and I will have my say. Best regards, Tom. And that's that we asked him from that moment on, keep us informed. And we had another one, and I apologize, I forgot to look this up. In any event, here's the current update. Joe, I wanted to give you an update on my conciliation court case against Representative Bianca Vernig, District 52B, and share what has unfolded since I first wrote to you. As you know, I filed suit and was scheduled for a virtual hearing on July 24th. I petitioned Dakota County for an in-person hearing, something I thought was a basic right in open court. After weeks of calls and paperwork, my request was denied for lack of case significance and limited resources. Yet at the same time, I was called to jury duty in Hastings. That proceeding was entirely in person in a vast courthouse that was nearly empty except for the jurors, the attorneys, and a few security staff. Entire corridors of judicial chambers sat unused. It left me wondering why taxpayers are funding facilities and staff that seem absent from the work we expect them to perform. This theme repeated itself at St. Paul City Hall in August when I appeared for a hearing about a long-standing water bill dispute. Entering from the Kellogg entrance, I was the only citizen there, the only person passing through security on a weekday afternoon. The building was silent and deserted. When I reached the third floor, the mayor's offices were the first doors I saw, completely empty, not a soul. Next were the city council chambers and offices, again completely empty. I then found room 313 and finally found people. But I only found 3 people seated with laptops. They were my council rep, an administrator, and the head of the water department. No staff, no movement, no sign of the daily work of government. It was another stark example of abandoned buildings and absent public servants, all while the taxpayers continue footing the bill. This is bigger than one representative not answering calls or one conciliation case. What I am seeing repeatedly is a government apparatus that is largely absent physically and functionally. Courtrooms, city halls, and offices stand empty while fraud, waste, and neglect multiply. The taxpayers who support these institutions deserve better. I'm just one citizen, a wheelbarrow salesman, not an attorney or a political operative. But I pay taxes, I follow the law, and I expect transparency, accountability, and presence from those who work for us. I believe this is a story that needs to see the light of day because it isn't just fraud or bad actors, it's systemic neglect. Yes, I use systemic as it is the perfect word for what is happening. Thank you for listening and for the work you do in bringing attention to the decline of common sense governance. You offered to help with my case, but now I believe it is our responsibility to do what we can to make sure every taxpayer in this state knows that we are victims of fraudulent representation. I will continue to be a huge pain in the ass wherever I can to bring light to this crisis. Best regards, Tom Cullen, CEO, Power Assist Technologies. Power Assist Technology must be a euphemism for an electric wheelbarrow.
Yeah, it's motor assisted.
Pretty cool.
I am absolutely enraged.
It is. Well, let's continue along this thought. Our friend Jay Coles has stumbled into exactly what Mr. Cullen was referring to.
I wouldn't use the word stumbled when it comes to Jay.
Well, not stumbled. He ferreted
Those
out.
days are over.
He got it.
Yeah.
He found a story. Oh, I get it.
Gotcha.
Jay's part of the club, too?
Sure
He
is.
took the gear.
Yep.
In fact, I think he's the president.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he has a story about how North Minneapolis Representative Jeremiah Ellison not only routinely misses meetings while he's here in town, he has plans to completely abandon the city council, yet retain his paycheck from the city council, while he goes to Harvard for one of these pretend scams that politicians get called to Harvard for. And it's a fellowship.
Oh,
I'm sure to study
wonderful.
urban something. Minneapolis City Council member Jeremiah Ellison accepted a fellowship at Harvard, which means he will miss city council committee meetings between now and when his term concludes at the end of December. And it's a paid fellowship at Harvard. Ellison told Jay Coles of 5 Eyewitness News he intends to keep his city council seat and the $109,000 salary that the council people get
Wow.
while doing the fellowship in Massachusetts.
And getting paid.
What's that number?
They make $109,000,
Ooh.
which doesn't count their benefits. and
What's the
perks.
fellowship pay him?
We don't know what the fellowship pays them. In a statement Tuesday, Ellison told KSTP, I will continue my workload as normal. I really wouldn't call that a workload. I will continue that virtually. I will be present for most full city council meetings. Overall, nothing remarkable happening. No interview required. These people treat the public with disdain, don't they? Mm-hmm. KSTP found city council rules do not allow elected members to vote or participate in committee hearings and full city council meetings virtually. In other
Well,
words,
that seems like that's a problem, Joe.
what Ellison intends to do is against the city council rules.
It's not allowed.
And yet all of the Marxists on the council are rooting for him because they all probably want to get their hands on the same scam at some point. KSTP asked City Council President Elliot Payne how he intends to handle this. Well, it's a conversation with the City Council, said Payne. I saw this on the news. Payne could not have been more dismissive.
He dodged it.
I would call him smug.
Smug, arrogant, entitled.
Yep.
How
Shoo you
dare
away.
you?
Yeah, what
How
is
dare
your-
you even cross paths with me?
Would you like to hear from him?
When I'm done with this story, we'll
Gotcha.
pick up Jay's. When asked if he was confident Ellison could serve his Northside constituents adequately, Payne said, "I think that's a conversation that City Council member Ellison has with his constituents every day." Well, Payne,
No.
you're lying. He doesn't have that conversation every day. KSTP checks city committee hearings. City Council committee hearings and full City Council meetings since August 11th. In that time, Ellison has been marked absent for meetings 8 times. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 9th. In other words, Jay Coles is doing the Lord's work here. He's doing what reporters used to do when newspapers covered things like this.
Can we deduct and prorate his salary if he's missing those?
When newspapers had city hall bureaus, this kind of thing was covered extensively. Unfortunately, the newspapers do not wield the weight and the significance they did as recently as, say, 10 years ago. So what we have is Jay Cole stepping in, doing good work, investigating this preposterous notion that the city council is so out of touch with the public that they ostensibly serve that one of them, in this case Ellison, it's probably a family business to grift. Ellison is going to Harvard till the end of December, and he'll be paid by Harvard and be paid by the city. And before we get to Jay, I think the question that remains is, what will the city council do? They'll probably, conveniently enough, change their own rules
Yeah.
to allow Ellison to vote and attend
Because they're all looking at
virtually,
This
which currently is against their law. It's against their protocol. But you have the wrong city council people to enforce it. LaTrisha Vetaw is upset. Beyond that, I don't know anyone else who is. Why don't you play what Jay Coles had for us?
Ellison is listed as absent.
hang tight.
All right, we're keeping our focus on your tax dollars.
Just a minute.
tonight,
We won't
and
play it if we don't have volume.
I
It's not your fault. If we don't have volume, we won't play it. I said basically what Jay did.
Can I interrupt you for 1 minute, Joe?
Yeah.
Kenny asked how much Harvard pays.
Yeah.
It's a Loeb Fellowship that he received, and for an academic year, a Loeb Fellowship pays $57,500.
Okay, and
Lord Almighty.
Well, I suppose we could assume that he's not going for an academic year. He apparently is only going from now until December. But for all I know, in the failed academy, they figured a way out to call that a year.
Well, he already started, right? Because he's missed all those meetings.
he's already
so-
missed time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's assume he's getting to 57 then. That gets his salary up to what, 166,
We're about 170.
170?
170,
Not to mention all the perks you'll get from Harvard in the city.
Per
This is
diem.
an outrage, and no one cares. And I really wish I knew why no one in this state cared. Minneapolis is in extraordinary trouble. St. Paul is a failed city. And you have these people that we've managed to elect who have absolutely zero interest in representing the people who elected them. They're in there for their own benefit. It has nothing to do with public service.
We're worried about the fair. We're worried about kids back in school. We're worried about J.J. McCarthy. We don't care about this.
It's absolutely a crying shame that this phony Ellison gets away with this. And you know what? He'll get away with it because you've got Chug Tai and who are some of these other screwballs on the
Who's
council?
the Cortez guy?
Jason Chavez.
Chavez.
All these Marxists, they back this up because I bet their lips are smacking. They want this same gig. Oh, I hope I get a fellowship because I'll take off in a heartbeat because I'm not here for the people. I'm here for
Payne.
my own benefit.
Wansley, Rainville,
Yeah.
Osman, Cashman, Andrea, Chavez, Chugtai, Koski, Chowdhury, Palmasano. The only one I didn't mention was LaTrisha.
There's got to
seems
be
like she
somebody
has-
besides LaTrisha Vetaw who disagrees with this.
She seems like the only person that has a conscience on the. I mean, that's all I would ask, and it seems like they don't have a conscience.
I can't go on like this.
Meanwhile,
Well, the United States, we're crashing and burning. We're augering in. We're exploding. It's over.
Well, to go back to Cullen's letter. Are you surprised by what he found?
No.
In other words, he's contesting a water bill. He's treated like SHIT. He goes to the courthouse. There's nobody working. They're at home.
How can that be?
Frankly, I was surprised at that. Surprised and stunned. I think that's why I'm so angry. I wasn't ready for that.
There is a news story on the Star Tribune about it.
About what?
About this whole story, the Ellison thing, with an interesting quote.
It wasn't in the paper, John. It must be online only.
It's brand new. It was 2 hours or 3 hours ago. It was posted, and apparently Paul Massano is also against
All right, thank
this
God.
happening.
Yeah.
Paul Massano questioned why council leaders, quote, act surprised they're being asked questions like this. She said the action highlights complacency and complicity to our city's workforce and the public that we're supposed to be here for and serve. Ellison asked about the story. Here's the comment I was talking about. Declined, saying, I think I've humored it too much already.
Wow. Wow.
The contempt. They actually hold contempt for the citizens.
What an asshole.
Pretty bold to say that.
Wow.
That's, crazy.
And this Elliot Payne, he comes off as this regal, important. Never
The
mind.
stance of being
I can't do
annoyed
this.
by being asked a question, man, that is ballsy.
Was he the one that was going to shove the legislation or his ideas down their throats? Or was that Osman?
No, that was
Or
Chavez.
Chavez.
That was Chavez.
That was Ward 9,
That was
Jason
Caesar.
Chavez.
Caesar.
It's not Caesar, damn it.
Meanwhile, those property taxes aren't going down anytime soon.
We're
poorly served.
More on that later.
we're upside down. This isn't the way it's supposed to work. It's disheartening. There's no character here. The lack of moral and ethical integrity can manifest itself in many, many ways. And in this example, it's manifesting itself by a guy like Ellison having no character, no truth to his ideals, no ideals, period.
LaTrisha's quotes, Joe, are fantastic. Without council member Ellison sitting on those committees, which he is not a part of anymore, we have zero North Minneapolis representation on those committees. That's not acceptable to only other Northside council member up there. Vetaw said it's just not fair. Here we go. Another moment to disenfranchise the North Side. With everything that's happening on the North Side, the council member does not give a rat's ass about the people he represents.
Not a bit.
What a crook.
Why?
Wow.
There's two reasons, maybe, that people like him and Chug Tai and the rest of these frauds get elected. People are either horribly and uselessly uninformed, paying no attention, or they're getting a taste. They're getting taken care of. They're getting part of the action. They're getting taken care of. That can be the only two reasons. No sane, rational human being could vote for Ellison on the North Side. So one, you either don't give a bleep, you saw a DFL sign, so you just filled in the blank because you're uninformed. I'm resisting saying stupid. You're uninformed. You're not paying attention. Or you're getting a piece of the action.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Or you lack that same ethical and moral clarity that you should have.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Or you think you'll get something if you vote for him. Money, whatever. And God knows that's entirely plausible given that this state has no one in a position of authority to control fraud.
Nope. One reason.
You're here for one reason.
Don't forget, any vote for a Democrat is a vote against Trump. There's always that reason, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this precedes Trump's arrival on the scene.
Yeah, he did.
This is why we need Omar Fateh to clean things
That's
up in Minneapolis.
That's what I was making a reference to, actually, is people that are running for office in city council.
There's not-
Or, excuse me, in his case, it's not city council.
No, there's no reason
mayor.
he should run for. He should not be allowed to run for office. He's a crook.
Or
I'm
if-
not even sure it's allegedly.
I'm just hoping you will.
Yeah, allegedly doesn't help, by the way. I've told you guys that a million times.
From the latest from all of Minneapolis, who I finally was able to touch base with, Karen Birkland, the head of it, she's agreed to come on with us next week. She's traveling right now. Omar's 2020 campaign was involved in a well-documented case of voter fraud involving completing ballots for at-risk adults without their knowledge. And then his brother-in-law committed perjury to cover that up. Fateh then denied knowing his own brother-in-law.
Never met him before in my life.
Right.
Nearly a third of Fateh's campaign donations in 2021 came from people associated with Feeding Our Future. In return for those donations, Fateh attended a public event with Feeding Our Future Executive Director Amy Bach and criticized the State Department of Education's decision to pause funding for the nonprofit, to which I would add, and petition Keith Ellison to go to bat on his behalf, which Keith Ellison did, lecturing the state's own Minnesota Department of Education, how dare you cut off the money that's going to these fraudsters. Now, it wasn't stated like that, but that's